What's up, everyone? I'm Andy, and you're watching the Reboot Experiment. If you're new here, let me fill you in real quick as to what's going on. 2 years ago, I lost my job, so I sold my house, packed up the Tesla, and drove across North America for a year. Now I'm back in the Ottawa area, I just bought land, and I'm about to build a custom house. So, if you're interested in custom house design, if you've thought about building a custom house and you want to learn about it, whether you want to learn about design or dealing with the municipalities or how to contact trades, building things, doing flooring, drywall, installing doors and lighting and kitchens and bathrooms, I'm going to be doing it all. If there's anything you're interested in learning about, let me know in the comments and I'll try and make a video just for you. So, what's today's topic? Kitchens. Let's talk about kitchens. There are three main ways you can get a kitchen for your house. Option one is to go with the builder's supplied option. They will have their own design center in most cases, and they'll be able to recommend someone for you. Or you can go with a third-party contractor of your choice. Any kitchen builder will do. And in that scenario, they'll be assisting you, and of course, they will be doing all of the installing. That is going to cost you roughly $15,000 to $25,000 for your kitchen, depending on the options that you've selected. And I'm only talking about cabinets, by the way. No countertops, no appliances, just the cabinets will cost you $15,000 to $25,000. That's the end of the video for you. Option two is RTA. That's ready to assemble cabinets. What that means is it's a lot like Ikea. It arrives in boxes, all flat packed, and then you have to assemble the cabinets yourself and then set them up in your kitchen by yourself. That's a decent way to save money. Expect to pay between $10,000 and $15,000 depending on your options. The third option is the one I chose, and it's the one where you can save the most money. And that's buying a pre-assembled built kitchen. So what is that? Typically, it's a builder-grade kitchen, so a builder spec'd out a kitchen for one of their new houses, and the buyer chose not to install that kitchen. They either optioned out, or perhaps there was a defect in the kitchen, or they just went with completely different designs. So now this builder has an extra kitchen that they need to get rid of. That kitchen usually ends up either at some kind of auction or some other overstock seller. So what you're looking for is overstock, potentially with minor damage, cabinets. The downside here is that those cabinets are already pre-designed and pre-sized. You get what you get and you have to work with it. So if you already have your kitchen designed and you're just trying to replace cabinets, it's probably not the one you're looking for. That's going to be a really difficult option to work with because you're going to be struggling against the sizes. You can't change the sizes of your cabinets. Well, you can, and I'll get to that later, but it's a lot of work. So it works best in a custom build where you have free reign and you can do whatever you want. You buy the kitchen and then you piece it together yourself to form the best shape that works for you. Doing it that way, you're expected to pay between $5,000 and $10,000. That's a huge savings over going with either a custom builder or some other option. It's just literally half the price or less. Now, like I said, there are downsides. So let's switch over to my design view here. And I'll talk to you about my kitchen, how I put it together, and what some of the downsides are that I'm going to have to deal with. So here we are in my design. And you can see this is my kitchen design right here. Before I get too far, I want to quickly talk about the design itself, why it ended up the way it is, more or less. So if you recall from any previous videos, you'll know that this is a log house. That means all of my perimeter walls are going to be pine. There's going to be timber framing and beams that are all exposed. There's going to be a lot of wood already in this space. And with a wood kitchen, I was afraid that it would be too overpowering. So what I did was I offset that by creating a white frame all the way around the kitchen. Now this serves two purposes. One is it helps the kitchen look more built in, like it really belongs in this space. And two is it creates a visual separation around the kitchen so that the wood in the center pops a little bit more without feeling too overpowering. The second thing you'll notice is that these inner cabinets are a different color than the wood ones that are surrounding it. And that is deliberate. I bought two different kitchen kits. One of them was a full kitchen kit, the wood one. And then I got extra cabinets in this gray. And I did that because it would help offset some of that wood and help create a little bit of visual interest and contrast in the design. You'll see I also carried that down to the section here under the cooktop. Again, it's to create a little bit of a visual triangle here and to signify that this is an area that you cook at. It is a different area than over here, for example. Just a little visual trickery to help the eye understand where the cooking zones are. All right, so now that you understand the basics of this kitchen, we'll talk about the main thing you need to think about when you're designing a kitchen. The number one thing to design in your kitchen is functionality. I don't care how ugly your kitchen is. If it is functional, I will enjoy being in that space. And if it is not functional, I don't care how nice it is and how pretty it is. It's a terrible kitchen. So nailing your functionality is key. Now you may have heard about the cooking triangle. I'm going to go one further because in my case I have a wall oven and I think that kind of breaks that triangle shape. But I want to talk a little bit about it and explain the principles of it so you understand how I got to my design. So the kitchen triangle is typically the triangle that is formed between your fridge, your sink, and your range, which would be your oven and cooktop. Now in this case, I have a separate cooktop and wall oven, so I can't do a triangle. But you can follow the same principles. The idea is to create an area that is cohesive to be in. So I created basically a diamond shape. So fridge to cooktop to oven to sink. But more importantly, I wanted to focus on the area between the cooktop and the sink because that's where most of the cooking happens. And by placing them opposite each other like this, it allows me to wash a vegetable in the sink and then quickly turn around and throw it in a pan. Turn around, fill a pot of water, turn around, put it on the cooktop. This dual zone space that allows me to just pivot and do different tasks is going to be crucial to a speedy kitchen. It also means I have a ton of space on either side of the cooktop for my mise en place, all of my vegetables and whatever I'm cooking with, oils and whatnot. And it leaves space on either side of the sink for me to place things as well. It's a really great spacious layout. Here is where I have my combination microwave and dual wall oven. Now, some people might say that the microwave wall oven combo is a bad idea because of the shelf life of them. If your microwave or oven dies, you have to replace both at the same time. And yes, that is true. It's possible that one item will break and you'll have to replace both. However, the convenience factor of having both the microwave and the wall oven in the same place is worth it for me. It's also important to note that the microwave here also acts as a warming drawer, and it also acts as a toaster oven. It has multiple uses, so keeping it in the same space as the oven allows you to seamlessly move items back and forth, and it makes for really easy cooking. But more importantly, I placed the fridge over here because you'll see it's a clear path from the entrance straight up to the fridge, so you can put your groceries down on the island or down on the floor here and load up your fridge right as you come in the door. That's super handy, and it makes loading groceries into your kitchen really, really convenient. So that's where the functionality came in. I designed my kitchen very specifically to meet my functional needs. And I think that's the most important thing you can do. Figure out how you cook. What are the things that you do? And what is most optimal to you? Because what works for me may not work for you. You may have a completely different style of cooking. Maybe you love to bake, and so you want that wall oven, or any oven, to be a little more central for you. You figure out what works for you and try and design it in a way that won't create any bottlenecks. Think through all of the different ways you're going to use that kitchen. What happens when you're baking something really large and you need to add something else in? Where does it go? When something is on the cooktop and needs to stay warm, where does it go? Cleanup as well. When you're done with all of this, how easy it is to load the dishwasher. You have to think about all of the functional ways you're going to use this kitchen and design for that first and foremost. Okay, rant over on the functionality. Now let's talk about the rest. So, I figured out my triangle. I had all of my appliances designed. Now it's a matter of figuring out where the rest of the cabinets fit and how I can design a kitchen around that. So, because I have a 30-inch cooktop, I know that I have to have a 30-inch base underneath it. That's what's going to fit the cooktop and support it. I also happened to have two 12-inch gray cabinets, so I placed those on either side of my 30-inch gray cabinet just to extend that gray a little bit more and create a sense of balance with the space above it. The two upper cabinets, I simply placed the 36-inch cabinets on either side, and that left a natural 3 to 6-inch gap around my hood fan. Now, this is where it gets tricky, and this is why it's a little more difficult to buy a pre-built kitchen. In order to fill this space properly, I need a 30-inch cabinet on this side and a 30-inch cabinet on this side. However, I don't have two 30-inch cabinets, I only have one. So what I'm going to have to do is take my 36-inch cabinet and cut it down to size. That means I have to take all those front faces off, size them back down, change the back plates, resize the cabinet, reassemble it all. It's going to be a good amount of work, but luckily it's only for one cabinet. So I'm willing to do the work to make this cabinet fit my space. And it's basically not going to cost me anything other than glue and a few screws. So if you're handy and you're able to modify cabinets to fit your style, and of course, if the cabinets can be modified, in my case, these cabinets are very simple and flat. So I'm able to do this modification pretty easily. But if you're not able to, it's something to really keep in mind, is how are the cabinet sizes going to affect your design. So in this case, if I was unable to modify this cabinet, one option to me would be to use the 36-inch cabinet over here, and I'd have an extra 6-inch gap on this side. More importantly, if I was stuck like that, I would probably just shuffle things around and try and find a new design where it isn't quite so centered. I just happen to really, really like that perfectly symmetrical design. Now you'll notice these upper cabinets as well going along the top. That's kind of what gives it that built-in look, but in order to do that, I'm actually going to have to customize these. See, these are typical 12-inch wall cabinets, but you'll see that I pulled them forward to line up with the front of these 24-inch deep cabinets. That means there's actually a 1-foot gap behind these, but it's designed specifically to make it look like it's fully built in. You see, when you're standing here looking up, you're fully surrounded by the same look. In order to do that, I need to build framing behind this wall, pulling it out about 12 inches so that everything lines up flush at the front here. Okay, so one last design feature to quickly talk about is the back of this island. You'll notice that the back of the island is in the gray to match the gray at the back. And I did it that way because it helps pull the eye towards the back. Having the gray at the front, matching the gray at the back, pulls your eye forward through the design, and it just helps create a little more cohesiveness. So in order to get this effect, I'm actually going to have to custom build this. I'm going to have to buy plywood and then custom paint it in a gray to match the gray from these upper cabinets. So I'm not sure how that's going to turn out, but we'll see when I get there. So that's it for this week. I hope you learned a little bit about kitchen design in here. I kind of very quickly pieced this together because I wasn't planning on recording today. I don't know how it turned out. I'll find out when I edit this. But let me know in the comments if there's anything that you saw that you had questions about. If there's anything you want me to spend a little more time going over. Just let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. I want comments. That's it for now. Bye.